Hey, you ready to get your Conan on? Stick around. Hi folks, Old Man Grognard here, and today we're going to be talking about Astonishing Swordsmen and Sorcerers of Hyperboria by Jeff Tarnelin of Northwind Adventures. Now, this was primarily written by him. It was illustrated by Ian Bagley, and the editor was David Prada. This came out in 2012 to amid great fanfare, and it is a retro clone of first edition, but it's not a retro clone. It's first edition kind of fine-tuned for more of a Weird Tales playing, like Howard and Lieber and Lovecraft and things like that. And so you're getting that really gritty Conan-esque, feel to it, that kind of thing, which is a good thing. I like it. I have yet to play it, but I like what I see. It has been out for a while. It's got a few adventures out. There's a lot of things you can adapt to it too, which is what I really like. Here's some of the differences. One, the Thief. The Thief class uses a D12 for its thiefly abilities, which is kind of interesting. Races. There's one race, human. That's it. You've got, but to sort of make up for that, they give you a lot of races of human. You have common, Amazon, Atlantean, Eskimo. I think they're trying to say Eskimo. Hyperborean, Exetian. I don't think I said that right. Celt, Cimmerian, and the variation Cimmerian Celt. Pict, there's also Half-Blood Picts, and Vikings, which, if you can't find anything to play in there, you're not, go play D&D, regular D&D. I love it, they spell Celt and Cimmerian with a K. I think that's because they're trying to get around the copyright or something like that, but I could be wrong. I'm not accusing anybody of anything. This is it. This comes in a box like this, if you're getting the physical box. What comes in the box are the player's manual, 256 pages, the referee's manual, 240 pages, a really nice fold-out map of Hyperboria, set of precision dice, always handy, and a few character sheets if you don't want to print your own. I usually do. So that's what comes in the box, and let me tell you, you get a lot for your money. And there's a lot of good play in here. For instance, like for classes, 4 classes, but there's so many subclasses, you got about 20. Let me just run them down real quick. There's, the usual fighter, magician, cleric, and thief. Under the fighter, you can play these, regular fighter, magician, cleric, and thief. But you can also play the subclasses. Under fighter, barbarian, berserker, cataphract, which is a knight, paladin, ranger, warlock. Magician, you have illusionist, necromancer, pyromancer, and witch. Under the cleric, you have a druid, monk, priest, or shaman, aka a witch doctor. Under the thief, assassin, bard, or a skald, as they call it sometimes, legerdemainist, and scout. I find it interesting that the monks under cleric, which you probably would, but they're so martially oriented most of the time. It just took me back a little bit. I think about, yeah, that makes sense. Okay, whatever. And so that's what you get in the box. You're going to have a lot of good playing time with this thing. Jeff Tarnelin has done a bang-up job because you read the text and it really feels like, it doesn't feel like Tolkien, it doesn't feel like D&D, it feels like pulp fantasy, which is nice. They also have the spells in there, which they pretty much ported over from 1E with a few variations. Levels. Everybody goes up to, you can only go up to level 12 in this game. To me, no biggie. 12's good. 12 to 14, that's not a bad place to stop and retire. So like at 7th level, everybody starts getting their stuff like, fortresses and keeps and wizards' towers and all that kind of stuff. The bestiary is really good. You'll see a lot of like the usual suspects, like orcs and ogres and goblins, but they will be tweaked in order to fit in there. You'll also find elder things in the Cthulhuoid vein. In fact, Cthulhu is in there, once again spelled with a K. Deep ones, things like that. And this is not Call of Cthulhu, you know, sanity, bugger out and go crazy, and they eat you. It's more like Conan going up against some fell creature from the stars or from down below. And it's like he's totally unfazed. He just wants to kill this thing type of thing. So you've got the fantasy thing overlaid on that. It's very well put together too. It's what's interesting. It's one column. I've never seen a one column game book that's so easy to read. Here's part of the character, one of the character pages. This is for the fighter. It gives you the fighter stats and his character level progression. It's interesting fighter because you can, when you start out, if you're attacking anything 1/2 hit die or less, you get 2 attacks. And once you become, I think, level 7, that also applies for anything 2 hit die or less. So, you know, and a lot of other classes have all these really neat sub abilities. Here's what the bestiary section. There's a snake man. Now, if that doesn't scream Howard or Lieber, I don't know what does. And like I said, the monsters are tweaked. There are no dragons at all. That doesn't mean you can't add them. I would add them as I would definitely like put it in more of the weird fantasy vein, something out of the stars or something. You know, some fell lizard from out of nowhere or something like that. But if you really want that sword and sorcery pulp feel, this is a game to get. Not that you can't do it with other games, but it's easy for this. They even have some technology in there, a la Barrier Peaks type technology, came from aliens from the stars. So you can almost push this, if you wanted to, into like He-Man or Thundar territory. And it would work. I recommend it highly. You can find it on the Northwind Adventures website. I'll put all the websites and links down there. And you can also get the PDF from DriveThru. Now, ain't cheap. The box set that I just showed you, $50, and you get everything I showed you in there. Now, if you want to go to, or you can just buy the Player's Handbook printout. It's just the Player's Handbook for $20. DriveThru RPG and RPG Now, it's more of a steal at $10 for everything on PDF, including the map. Well, you don't get the dice, but so if you can do, I would, you know, if I'm hepped up on this and I was the GM, I would definitely lay the bucks down for the box set. And if your players, either, you know, lay out for the Player's Handbook or just buy the PDF for $10. $10, it can't be beat, really. Now, and I say this because I have a feeling I'll be reviewing this again in the future, because they're getting ready to close, as of this recording, getting ready to close on a Kickstarter for 2nd edition Astonishing Swordsmen and Sorcerers of Hyperboria, which is going to be one big hardback with a map. And so I'll probably be returning to this and see how they changed it and see what my recommendation is. That doesn't come out until later this year. So until then, you know, get the first, nothing wrong with having the first edition. It's great. It's a great game. It's a great game. So that's my review. If you have any disagreements or want to tell me about it, or just want to, you know, say if it's great or not, you can also always write me at oldmangrognard@gmail.com. So until next time, bye-bye.